Welcome to KYD. Big video today.
Huge. It's gigantic.
We have a lot to cover. We made notes, and you know when we make notes, it means we don't want to forget anything.
Yes.
Because?
Well, because this is a collection of things that we have learned along the way so that you can plan your best summer route.
Yes.
Right?
All right. So we have changed how we have adopted a route planning strategy over the years.
Yes.
And I feel like we've come up with a good plan now that creates confidence in knowing where you're going to go, but flexibility so that so you can just kind of like let a trip unfold.
So serendipity can play a role in your plans.
And so we're excited to share that with you. And then of course we're like thrilled that we're able to share Summer to Remember. So the Summer to Remember shirts are available now and only for another couple weeks.
Yes.
So that's at keeperdaydream.com/summer. But more about that, let's talk about other things we're going to talk about in this video. Okay, so how we plan. And then we also want to share, how do you make it a summer to remember? How do you make this year great in light of so many changes?
Yes, and what happens if your big epic plan is not coming together? You can still have an epic summer.
Yeah. So with that, we want to talk about, and then of course we want to share with you our 2020 plan and what we have, our route this year. And then we also want to share our favorite travel apps. So everything in our phone, what is in our phone, what apps do we use to make things a little bit easier? And then we wanted to pop on into the truck and share some ideas on navigation communication.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Just let me drive.
That's not too far off.
Not too far from the truth.
Okay, so that's what we have going on in this video. But first, let's talk about the Summer to Remember. This is our favorite project of the entire year because it brings the entire RV community, the KYD community, makes it a little bit smaller.
It is so cool. The stories that we hear through Instagram. I met someone from across the store or across the campground.
Yeah.
We didn't know each other, and then you find out how small your worlds are and how you're connected in some crazy way. But it really does make the world smaller.
It does.
So.
It does. And we always like a design, and we're really excited about this design this year. We like a design that is distinct and noticeable from like 100 yards away.
Yes.
And I keep my eyes peeled all summer long because I love coming up with people that are wearing the shirt. In fact, just last month in Cave Creek, someone was out grilling with their shirt on. I'm like, oh my gosh, flip a U.
Yes.
And then I pull up, nice shirt. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. And then, of course, we get to tag along with you with what you're doing this summer by using the hashtag Summer to Remember.
Oh my goodness, the pictures are so cool. They're fantastic. But not just the pictures, the comments that people put below of what they were doing and how they made an awesome summer happen.
Yes.
So.
And then, of course, we added a few more styles this year, which we're excited about. It took us a long time to come around to the hoodie. I think it's because we're from Arizona, and it's going to be like 100 degrees in Phoenix this week. But
well, we wanted to find something that was really quality, and so we found a champion one.
It's a champion hoodie.
But all those details are over at the website that Mark mentioned.
keeperdaydream.com/summer.
Yes.
So don't
break down everything so that you get a little bit more inside scoop on all the different styles.
There's a video over there that you can go check out. But don't wait because they really are only available for another couple weeks. And so, and then of course your poster.
Oh,
so let's hang up your poster and like share with everyone how that even came about.
This right here is a poster for everyone. Why? Because it's completely free. We've made this printable so you can print it off on your home printer, or you can send it to like Walmart or Canva or anything like that, Costco. They all make like poster sizes. So anyway, what we love to do and what we love seeing you do is make a Summer to Remember list. This is for all ages. You see there is no age marked on here, but hang it up here somewhere where y'all can see it.
Y'all.
Wow,
where did that come from?
I don't know.
We need to get on the road. Y'all need to get on the road.
Y'all need to get on the road where y'all can see it, and then you can start putting down some of the things that you want to do. But this is not like something that has to be so crazy epic and, you know, I'm going to travel around the world and see everything. This is marking little fun things. So at the end of the summer, you and either anybody that's traveling with you in your rig can see all the cool things that you did. So we went for a hike, we made popsicles, we, visited a library. I can tell you that when we first did this, it wasn't because we had the money to go do whatever we wanted. It was because we were like, I don't know if we're going to be able to pull off this summer. But instead, I put up a list and I said, these are all the things we're going to do this summer. And we're going to mark them off and we're going to color them in. Anybody have any ideas? And that was a way for us all to kind of gather as a family and put together just little things that made every day kind of special. And that's the idea behind the Summer to Remember poster. So you can get yours completely free, print it off at home, hang it up on your fridge, put it in your RV, get the family around a table and start coming up with fun ideas that everybody can do together.
The only thing I'll add to that is that when Trish first came up with this, I was like, really? Like, have a popsicle in the park, right? Like, I was a little
skeptical.
There you go. And I will tell you, it grounded our summer.
Yeah.
It made it fun. We started going through, and the kids got excited about checking it off, but it's not just for kids.
Yeah.
And last year, a lot of adults did this, and we've said this before, when you're measuring what you're doing on a trip, any trip, a trip for a week, month, full-time for years, when you can have a way to measure where you are in the journey.
Yes.
And feel like, hey, we're making progress, it creates a higher sense of purpose and a lot more fun.
I've already finished my sweet tea.
How was your tea?
Is anyone here to refill it for me?
Here, you can have some of my tea.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yes.
No, that's okay. You drink.
Okay, so before we dive into our 5-step route planning system,
Yes.
we wanted to just have a quick conversation around mindset, like we often do when we have a video like this.
Yes, because your mindset can make or break your trip. And if you are like most of the people with plans, they've changed.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I think anyone that was going anywhere in April, May, and June, and I mean, that's the beginning of summer. I bet there were some amazing plans.
Yes.
They've likely changed.
So, but we want to reframe that and really focus on the fact that anticipation is half the fun. So when you're anticipating a trip, you get excited about it.
Yep.
So the quicker we can get past the being deflated or bummed out about what was and start
Yes.
making what is,
Yes.
we can start going in anticipation planning mode and get pumped up again.
And I think this year is kind of a little extra disappointing because it just seems like everything changed. But the fact is, if you've been RVing for a while, you'd know that plans change all the time. Forest fires, unfortunately, pop up out of nowhere, and plans change. Things happen within families, and we need to go park the RV somewhere and fly somewhere. Like, this is par for the course.
Yes.
Is being flexible. And so, like Trish said, if anticipation is half the fun, you still get to anticipate that awesome location for next year, and then we get to find a new location, and maybe that location's in our backyard.
Oh my goodness, we get most excited when we discover something in Arizona, because we're like, how did we not know about this?
Yeah.
And then we get that adventure spirit back. So maybe your trip this year is going to be closer to home. And remember that other people around the United States have actually made a deliberate choice to go visit your home.
And you already live there.
Live there. So finding out new cool things about your home state is actually pretty exciting too. So if we have to stay closer to home, remember, it's in our power to make something great.
Yes.
So whatever that is, it might look totally different, but we're just here to encourage you that checking out your own backyard is pretty fun too.
Yeah. Okay, third tip or third idea is settling for just amazing.
We joke about this all the time because we show up somewhere and it wasn't exactly what we thought, or we get rerouted, and instead of epic, we have to settle for
just amazing.
Just
I
amazing.
think we first came up with this idea when we were up in Whistler and we could not go to Banff because of the forest fires. Or actually, we were near Portland. I mean, forest fires unfortunately happened quite a bit, and we had to reroute through Coeur d'Alene, which was not in our route, but we loved Coeur d'Alene. And then we decided to go to Banff anyway, even though we thought it'd be smoky and there'd be no views. And I said, well, geez, if this is bad, then I'll settle for just amazing, you know?
Right.
And so we just...
And that stuck.
That kind of stuck with us.
That comes along with us whenever something is just like different
rainy
than we expected.
Yeah.
Or in Alaska when we were pounded with rain for pretty much half the trip.
Yep.
We joked around the whole time. Maybe this isn't epic, but it's totally amazing.
It's still amazing, yes.
So,
and then lastly, we've touched on this when we were in Big Sur, that you didn't miss anything. Oftentimes when we want to go to a destination, you get input from other people and you go to Facebook and, in our case, we read comments and you miss it. You missed it completely. And sometimes this advice is coming from people that have been somewhere 5, 6, 7 times, and they're telling you everything to do, everything that they want you to do. It's not possible to do everything on your first visit.
That's right. So just take it slow, have your own trip.
Yep.
Motorcycle riders say ride your own ride.
Yep.
This is your trip, have your own trip, and not so much worrying about those external expectations from other people, or even your own internal expectations. Like, I needed to do this
Have to
and
see
this.
it all.
No, you're there. take a deep breath, enjoy it.
Half the time we're somewhere, we just enjoy being somewhere.
Yes.
And so, we'll read a comment and say, well, geez, you didn't do this, this, and this. You missed the whole thing. It's like, I don't know. It was pretty fun to just wake up, have a cup of coffee, go on some walks, have a great place to eat.
See a sunset.
Yeah. Just being there is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, all right. So those are our 4 ideas on maybe reframing the way we're thinking about this year in light of so many changes, because no matter what, you can still make it a summer to remember, even with all these changes.
Yes, enjoy the little tiny pieces of joy along the way.
All right, you want to talk about our 5 steps to route planning?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
There are crashes on I-40 East that are currently causing a 1 hour and 13-minute delay. This is the fastest route for now. You'll get an update if that changes. You will arrive at 5:42 a.m.
What?
Speaking of routes, we've moved from here to there to in here. It's a great route.
It's a big world.
Truck's getting 3 weeks to the gallon. All right, so we wanted to chat with you about our 5-step process to creating route planning and the way that we've route planned has evolved over the years.
Yes, it really has. But it's given us confidence and a little flexibility.
Yes.
So that we can be serendipitous.
Yeah, I think that's the key. We, for a long time, had no reservations. And then sometimes we would end up at a place where we're like, oh, I really wish we had a reservation. And then other times we've made rereservations and we're like, we really like it here and we have to go because we made reservations.
Right.
And so I think there's a balance between having the confidence of where you need to go and making sure you're not left out in the dark.
Right,
but
literally.
yet having the flexibility in case you like a place or you have a mechanical issue that the domino effect doesn't take over.
That's right. So we've got a 5-step process.
Yes.
First, we always like to pick like a theme. We went to Alaska one year. Yeah. We want to go, we're going to tell you later, somewhere this year, but...
Well, we're going to the Northeast. We've mentioned that.
Yes.
Oh, but we'll tell you our big rocks.
So anyway, but you pick a theme, and then that way you know what kind of adventure you're on. Do you want to do national parks? Are we going hiking? Are we going on a foodie adventure? And then that kind of sets the tone of what you're going to do.
Yeah, and then once you have that theme picked out, then we like to put the big rocks in first. And this is a phrase you might have heard. The idea is like you have this container, and you have all these rocks, small rocks and little pebbles and big rocks. And if you don't put the big rocks in first, then what ends up happening is all the pebbles and the non-essentials and the stuff that really wasn't a big priority end up filling the jar. And then
you're left with these big rocks.
Your big rocks
how do I fit this in?
So if you can put those in first, and then all the non-essentials and the things that are just kind of nice to have, they just kind of fill in the gaps.
Yes. So big rocks are like where you're going. What is like the big thing you want to see? What the city you got to see?
Yes.
And this is a great time to bring everybody else in your team into the planning process because you may have someone on your team that's not super pumped about going.
Yeah.
Maybe a teenager or something like that. I know it's hard to believe. But this is when they get to be part of it and say, where do you want to go? And give them a second to think about it. Not everybody knows what they want to go do.
Immediately.
But then some time starts going, they're like, I would really love to do X. Like one time Carson said, I want to go to a lumberjack festival.
And we went.
And we did. And so we were totally surprised and the whole thing was fantastic.
And then he's involved in making the route and things like that.
Yeah.
There are other big routes or big rocks too. And that is, like for us, it's kids' school.
Yes.
And if you have grandkids or a grandkid is going to be born at a certain time, that becomes big rocks. Parents and surgeries and family, those are all big rocks too. And so we take into account those typically first, and then we'll take a look at our destinations so that we know about where we need to be throughout the year to make sure that we've put all the priorities in before everything else.
Yes.
All right, so that's step 2. Step 3 is creating a route. So once you know your big rocks and your destinations, then you can draw from point A to point B, which is not as easy as it sounds.
I know. Sometimes you can go through different cities and then you can say, what's the weather like? Because sometimes, we didn't end up going through Oklahoma because there was bad weather.
That's right, yeah.
And so, and we're like, okay, we got to go lower or higher or something like that. Or maybe there's a destination along the way that you would have never expected.
Yeah. In fact, right now when we take off for this season, and we cannot wait to leave, and we start heading north, we're going to go through Utah, we're going to go through Colorado. I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can get to where you need to be, and then that kind of determines what you might see along the way.
Right.
Okay, so step 1 is to pick the theme. Step 2 is to put in the big rocks in first. Step 3 is to create the route. And then step 4, and this is really the most important one in my opinion, and that is applying time to the route.
Yes.
And the importance here is to make sure that you don't end up in a hot spot on a weekend, on a holiday weekend, and then not having any reservations. So if you can kind of take a look at where you might be in the route, at what time, then you can know when is it the most important to have a reservation.
Right. Because if you're going to end up like we did in Cannon Beach on 4th of July with no reservations, you're going to have a bad
Then you're going to be sleeping
trifecta.
in their parking lot.
Yes, like we did. And then
Yes.
everything opened back up. But we like to, if we know we're going to go into a national park and we haven't been able to get a reservation, because those are super challenging to get, when you go into a national park during the week, it's very helpful because everyone's kind of cleared out.
Yeah, so typically we're going to make a reservation on maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturdays in between May and August in highly popular destinations as a rule. But once we apply time to the route, we're going to look way in advance. 4th of July, Memorial Weekend, Labor Day, these are the big weekends, and we're going to say, where do we think we're going to be in these times where we know we're going to need a reservation? And then those become our big rocks, and we kind of back plan from those places. And that allows us to put the day, like kind of, this is step 5, is let the days just fill in themselves. If we know we need to be at point A on this particular time, and we know we need to be at point B at this particular time, we're gonna leave intentionally a few days to let the days just kind of fill in. And that way, if we find a place that we absolutely love and we don't wanna leave,
Yes.
or there's an issue or a mechanical issue, something needs to be fixed.
Or working. I know a lot of people work from the road, and so you have either a conference call that you need great Wi-Fi for, or you need to be somewhere. I know a lot of people fly out to go to work and then come back, and so they need to be in a certain city. So
yeah, so when those situations happen, that's gonna eat up all that little buffer time that you've allowed in between those two places, rather than having to call up the next place and cancel. And so even if you're going out for 10 days, you kind of have a propensity to want to plan every single night, this RV park, and then it's 600 miles away, so that's going to take us a day and a half to get there, and then I have this reservation. If one thing happens, that reservation gets missed. Sometimes RV parks, especially in the summer, don't provide refunds, and then it just cascades. And that's where the stress comes in. So if you can build in, even on a 10-day trip, build in a couple buffer days, and then just know that you've got Harvest Host available to you. You've got What Boondockers Welcome. You've got BLM Land. We use Campendium to go find
Cracker Barrel.
There's places. Just know that you have a couple days, so if something happens, you've got those 2 days built in. And then if you're going out for 3 months, maybe you put 4 days in between destinations.
Right. Because like I'll have a city that I really want to see, but I don't know if it's going to work out or if it's going to be like one day and I'm like, okay, that was good.
Yeah.
So, we build in a little bit buffer, and then we can also take our time, especially when we're going through Texas and things like that. The driving is a little more fatiguing, or if you're going through a city, things like that.
Now, before we talk about our route this year, one more point about reservations. We have been very lucky, and a lot of you've seen us at some really great places at some really busy times of year without reservations. We have found that just rolling in somewhere the day of, often we'll get a site. We come into this RV park yesterday, and about 5 o'clock at night, she says, "Do you have a reservation?" I said, "No." And she says, "You're kidding, right?" And I said, "No." She says, "You're kidding." I said, "No, I do not have a reservation." She says, "Well, we're full." And so then she comes back and she says, "Okay, we have one site available." So here we are, we're about ready to leave, and no one's left this morning because I've been kind of paying close attention. So let's just from where I'm standing, let's take a look around.
Okay, but if your whole life has been built around, I have to go to Joshua Tree National Park and get this picture, you need a reservation.
Yeah, you need a reservation.
Yes.
But the point is that you can roll in without a reservation and often be okay as long as you're flexible and you're okay with a little bit of dry camping. Walmart if you absolutely have to. Stuff like that.
Right.
All right. Well, let's share our route.
Let's.
Okay, so our big rocks, you might ask. Okay, first, family always comes first. And our big rocks are...
Getting Carson to school on time.
Yes, because we know we have those dates.
Right.
And so we put those big rocks in first.
And we also have a parents' weekend that we have to be circling back for.
And so we put that in there. In terms of the theme, here's the theme for this season. This is our kind of final destination where we are headed if everything works out well. We're headed to Nova Scotia. That's the plan. And due to everything that's going on and Carson's school, not even so much of the COVID stuff, but just Carson's school, we're getting a little bit of a late start. And so, we're just going to hopefully
the borders open up and all of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see what happens. We're going to remain flexible.
Yes.
But we have confidence in where we're going.
Yes. So how are we going to get to Nova Scotia is the question. And so there's a couple other big rocks.
Through Glacier Park.
Well, hold on. Well, let's back up and go through first Quebec City.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And then before Quebec City, Glacier National Park.
Yes.
So, and we've never been to Glacier National Park because of the forest fires and other situations that have happened that have forced us to go look at other things. So we're looking forward to that.
And then if everything works out as planned, we're going to just fall down the East Coast.
Yes, yeah.
We're very excited about that.
Oh, there's another big rock. We're doing a KYD Insider photo workshop in Alabama. And so that's...
It's not Alabama.
Arkansas?
Arkansas, yes.
Yes, and so we have that going on, and so that's another big rock. So we put those priorities in, we know those dates, and then we just kind of create the route and we figure it out as we go, and then we let the details fall in.
Yes.
So that's our route.
That's the deal.
So now we need to talk about, we need to pop into the truck and we need to talk about navigation tips.
Yes, and apps.
Oh, our apps.
Things
Yes.
that we enjoy using that help us.
Yeah, we have really found some apps that are awesome that we cannot wait to share with you. All right, let's talk about apps and all the apps that we use on our phone to navigate through this country and to make things a little bit easier as we find dry camping and BLM and cell phone coverage and harvest hosts and Catskills and leveling and all this stuff that we use on our phone. Let's start first with all the apps that we use to find RV parks and places to stay. So that would be Allstays, RV Life, Campendium, and iOverlander. These are the 4 apps that we go to. And, you know, we started off using Allstays more initially, and then as RV Life came on the scene and they integrated in with RV Trip Wizard, which I'm sure you've heard of, we started to use RV Life more. The thing I like the most about RV Life is they have every single private RV park on the planet in this app. And so when you're using RV Trip Wizard, it's very easy to plan your trip across the country and then have that on the phone. What I like about the app is that it has great pictures of the park and it has lots of users and has very current reviews of the park and actual reviews of the people who have stayed there. So we do use that more often than not for private RV parks. Campendium is what we typically use for finding BLM land. Just seems like it has a lot of users that are very BLM land. That's interesting. Campendium has a lot of users that use the app for BLM land, and so there's a lot of great reviews on that. iOverlander is exactly what it sounds like. It's more for overlanding and dry camping out in the middle of nowhere. It was a good app for that, a lot of users, good reviews. Harvest Host is our #1 source for finding like overnight stays as we are going from point A to point B. So that's where we go for that. And they just added golf courses to their platform, which is fantastic. We just added it to our membership, and so we're pretty excited to get on the road and start using that. A lot of questions we got when we were hauling the toy hauler. It was over 13 feet high, and height is, of course, always on your mind when you're towing something that tall. And so you definitely need an app that's going to navigate you through and around low clearance bridges. And so we use several paid, and we actually found out that the free one was the best. Truck Map was what we liked the most. Easy to use. The nice thing about this particular app is you can add Catskills and Walmarts and other things that are typical for truckers from going to point A to point B in there. So that's what we use for that. But generally speaking, we're going to use Google Maps. Tricia and I just prefer Google Maps because we can add points in along the way. Now that we're only 9 feet 9 inches, it's not as big of a concern, but when we're over in the Northeast, we'll probably use Truck Map a little bit more if we're in an area. One quick tip is if you're traveling down a highway and you don't see any semi-trucks, you probably have a problem. So we always keep an eye out for semi-trucks and other high units. When we don't see any, it's like, what's going on? All right, so other apps that just can add a little bit of convenience. For hiking and outdoor stuff, finding trails, All Trails is fantastic. So many users, great pictures. You can find trails almost anywhere you are. You can find a trail, easy, moderate, difficult. It's a tremendous app. Okay, helpful apps to find good cell phone coverage. We use OpenSignal when we're traveling through New Zealand, Alaska, parts of Texas, the PNW. Those are the areas where, we're Verizon and we typically have coverage everywhere, but this app is helpful when you're in an area and you really need internet and you want to know exactly where you need to go to get a better signal. This has been a great app. Okay, how about staying fit on the road? Anytime Fitness, we always joke, Trish and I joke, that no matter where we're staying, there's always an Anytime Fitness within 7 miles. We went to an Anytime Fitness up in Munising, Michigan, up in the Upper Peninsula. Then we came down through Green Bay to go to Oshkosh, the air venture. And I mean, you work out every single day of the week in a different location with this. And your membership, after you've been a member for 30 days, your membership is nationwide, actually international. There were even Anytime Fitnesses in New Zealand. It's crazy. Okay, so let's talk about weather. We use a Doppler app to find weather, and this is an app that we downloaded when we were in Florida and Hurricane Matthew came through. I found the news to be a bit sensationalized as to how bad the storm was going to be, what kind of damage the storm was going to do, and it was very dramatic, and I just needed to know where it was, how fast it was going, and which direction it was going, so I can make my own decisions. And for that, we use this Doppler app, which seems to be pretty good. You could use any Doppler app. I'm not recommending this one necessarily, but I just like to see where the storm is going. All right, let's talk about apps that help you with the RV. So Victron is an app that we use to monitor the levels of our batteries. It's connected through the BMV and a shunt that gives you the battery levels. This is critical if you have lead acid and you don't want those batteries to go below 50%. But even in most circumstances, it's just kind of nice to go down there and know exactly where you are when you're dry camping. LevelMate Pro. This is an app I was reluctant to download for a long time, but the community kept writing in and they saw me struggling with the little yellow blocks and they were flipping out and they said, Mark, you really need to get the Anderson blocks and LevelMate Pro. I finally did it. They were 100% right. This app, which is not necessary, I mean, you could just use a level. This makes it so easy. And the thing we like about it the most is that when we're gonna like stay the night somewhere dry camping and we don't want to disconnect, we can just, in the cab of the truck, I can drive until I get green lights. App has turned me into a bit of a perfectionist.
Yeah, just stop it.
Trisha's like, stop at 1.5 inches. I'm like, no, I must see a green light. Must see green lights. And then I don't have to get out and level at all. And if you're traveling solo, like I said, paired with the Anderson blocks, it turns this into a one-person job. Okay, I've got the Good Sam Roadside app installed, and this is pretty much just to prove that I have a Good Sam member if I go into, or a Good Sam membership if I go into an RV park to get a discount. The reason I use Good Sam Roadside is because just about every tow truck company uses Good Sam. And when we were stuck out in the mud in Ohio and our neighbor called a wrecker and the wrecker came out to pull him out, I had at that time the roadside assistance that was sold to me through the dealership and not Good Sam, and he didn't take the roadside assistance that I had, and so I ended up having to pay cash. And I thought, you know what, if everyone takes Good Sam, it's just kind of easier if I have what they take. So that's why we're members of that. Not because they provide exceptional service, but because everybody takes them. The Cat Scale, if you watched the last episode, this is a new app, and I can't wait to use it. Haven't used it yet. Apparently, I don't even have to get out of the truck or go inside. I can just, right from getting the truck weighed, I can get all my stats. And then the one that's probably the most exciting of all, because it has the biggest savings, is the TST Fuel Card. This is an app, or I should say a card. It's in my wallet here somewhere, where you can go to truck stops. The two biggest in their program are Love's and TA, and we're talking significant savings on diesel. So this is a no-brainer. I mean, you're going to see savings from, like, well, you can look here on an example. There's big savings on diesel, depending on where you are, and at the end of the month, it just drafts out of your checking account. So in order to sign up for this card, if you have diesel, just go to tsdlogistics.com, link down below, and then go services, I think fuel card, and halfway down through the page there's a blue link, and then you can sign up. And if you put KYD as referred by, then they give me a little bit of fuel credit. And then when you sign up someone, then they refer you, then you'll get some fuel credit. But everyone's going to get savings right off the top by using this card. Now, if you don't have diesel, the last time we did an app review video like this, everyone said they liked Gas Buddy. I've never used Gas Buddy, but I downloaded it. I could see why they like it. You can see the gas prices everywhere and exactly where the gas stations are. So, whew, those are the apps that we use. A lot of them create savings and convenience, and been asked this question a lot, so I hope that was helpful. Now let's get Trish down here so we can talk about, oh, look at this. I forgot the most important thing. So this is the iPass. I cannot wait to install this. This is for tolls when you're in the toll network, mostly in the Northeast. And so now that we have the F250, I'll be mounting that up there, and we roll up to a toll. That gate will open, and it'll bill our card automatically. We did not have this for the longest time. Everyone started writing in, Mark, you really need to get the iPass, or also known as the Easy Pass. So we've got it.
Okay, good. I'm glad you did this. Okay, all right, we're good. I think we're good. Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that.
Okay, well, you know, I could.
How's my COVID hair?
It's coming along
Is
quite
it?
nicely. Yes. Yeah, I have the scissors. So we know a lot of you are anticipating your departure date. So are we.
Oh,
We
yeah.
cannot wait.
We
know
to
it's
go.
coming.
We are ready to go.
Ready to go.
And it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's summer's off to a late start, but it will happen. And absence makes the heart grow fonder. It'll be even better.
Yes, and we are looking forward to seeing what you are up to this summer.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up with a little compilation of some previous seasons to perhaps the most perfect song for the situation that we are all in
Together.
right now. And we will see you next Sunday.
Bye for now.
At this cul-de-sac.
There's so much traffic going
There's so
by.
much traffic.
Caleb's dancing. People are screaming out their window. It was really good.
What did she say?
Took a minute, but I figured out that no one ever really has it all figured out.
Come to me, baby!
Fall down here.
I'm ready!
Don't believe it, let me demonstrate it. I took apart who I was and I rearranged it. I'm better than I was before. Now I'm standing here hungry and I'm ready for action. So let me tell you, I'm ready to jump right back in, back in. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Now, if I walk in front of you, will I end up in the picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Walk slow.
Walk very slow.
Yeah, I'm ready, I want you to know. Yeah, I'm ready to go again.
Listen to it. It's like, I don't know, they're both amazing. I think you gotta do both.